Yeah. Very well, very well. Just getting ready for cage wise. So yeah, no, everything's going well, going
How's,
good.
yeah, how's preparation been going? Like, is it you still sparring a lot, less than 2 weeks out, or do you sort of ease off that a little bit?
Um, I'm gonna get some move abouts in this week. I'm gonna so I'll spar. Yeah, I'll have probably two more sparring sessions before
Yeah,
the fight, but they're only gonna be like move abouts.
yeah,
Because I've been actually very active. I've had like three fights in the space of a year, so that's not bad going. So
yeah,
I don't really need to be and I've had a lot of fights now. When I was earlier in my career, so when I first started professionally fighting, I'd spar at least 15 rounds a week every week.
yeah,
And that was partly because I was trying to learn to be comfortable and so familiar with it. But
yeah.
now I've had a lot of miles on the clock. I have had a lot of injuries, you know, so I just need to be perfecting my skills and my conditioning, and then getting some move abouts in because I'm not short of experience.
You
So
put
I
them
don't need
injuries
to be
down to doing a lot of sparring then, or is it just sort of
a second.
you put them injuries down to doing a lot of sparring then, or is it just stuff that happens?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I really just threw myself into it, right into it. From everything from competing to sparring, I just would push myself so hard without so I'll just push. Yeah, so it's just been no one's exempt from injuries. So but I've reached a certain level of experience now. I don't need to spar as much as I would in the past.
Yeah,
But yeah, I want to pick up a bit more. But for this one, only two more sparring sessions because straight off the bat from the last fight, I was in the gym from the Monday, so I'm
yeah.
sharp and ready.
What do you make of your opponent you're seeing coming into the fight? Like,
I think it's a really good fight, and it's just I'm excited for it. So I was
mm,
offered three fights to start with. They had a featherweight option, which was the Welsh lad Ben Ellis,
yeah,
and because I will fight a featherweight again.
yeah,
And then they had Figlak and Yassine Belhadj. So I'm on a losing skid at the moment, which doesn't really bother me. To be fair,
yeah,
doesn't not affect with my mindset or anything. It's just the reality of fighting, and it is what it is. Do you see what I'm saying? So if
yeah.
anything, it grounds me more. Do you see where
Well,
I'm coming from with
yeah,
that?
yeah. Why was it you chose
Yeah.
Belhadj then out of the other two?
And say again.
Why was it you chose Belhadj then out of the other two?
Um, so it made more sense to start with regarding both of our situations. And also, when I looked at the matchup, it was just exciting.
Yeah,
So, former Taekwondo world champion, and he brings a lot of like unorthodox styles to the table, and
mm,
I just like the matchup. It just got me excited, and before he lost to Jack Bryan, I'm pretty sure he was a lot of hype around him. So
yeah,
it's a very fitting fight. But I liked all three of them fights. I thought they were great opportunities that come through.
yeah.
But Belhaj, nah, I'm all in for this one. It's a really good matchup.
You someone who like focuses on your opponents a lot during your training camps, or do you just mainly focus
Um,
on yourself, if you know what I mean?
so. I just focus on them just enough. You should really focus on yourself, in my opinion. Study your opponent, get familiar. But other
Mm,
than that, every fight camp's different. I will have some fight camps where I study my opponents a lot more. It depends on where I'm at because you're always juggling other stuff. You're good. You're working full time, or you got your life outside of it.
yeah.
So it's a balance. I've studied him enough, familiar with his style, what he brings to the table, and the chances are he's going to bring something different to this contest than he usually does. It's so unpredictable, so you should mainly just focus on being your best self
Yeah,
because that is what you have the most control over.
yeah.
It really is. It's like you can study your opponents, find patterns because they will have patterns that they're set and you can find them from when you go back to when they're fighting, say when they first started. You can actually dig and you can find the patterns, and if you put them under enough stress, it starts pulling back the layers
Do you watch a lot
of
of
their
tapes
game.
then of your opponents, like going back on?
I've watched a few of Yassine, but
Yeah,
not too much. I've really just focused on getting strong, getting healthy, enjoying my training and working. I'm roofing at the moment, so just focusing on that and on myself.
Yeah.
But I'm familiar. I see what I'm up against. Big athletic lad. I think
Mhm.
he's about 5'11", so he's gonna have a size height advantage on me, which isn't a problem because he won't have a conditioning advantage. He won't have a strength advantage or cardio, any of that. So it's just the body composition types.
Yeah. I was gonna say like a lot of your fights are really like exciting, like the Kieran Lister one, the Aiden Lee one, because like you always
Yeah,
keep the pace up. Like I'll be like I like a lot of your fights because I mean like
yeah,
you're all you're always in like really entertaining, really
yeah,
entertaining
man.
fights. Like always keep the pace up and that. But what do you do for your
What it's
cardio to
about.
keep that up?
Yeah. So cardio, high intensity, continuous training. So early in my career, I just used to love running, a bit like a Diaz mindset. I just would put my trainers on out the door, and I love to long distance running, and I love running up hills, and I'll
I just
just
do like
keep pushing
triathlons,
it.
don't they?
Yeah, yeah. So not quite like that, but
Yeah.
I would just push myself so hard until I feel my heart pounding out my chest, literally like that. And but I really enjoyed it, and I feel like that would always give me an edge because I don't think many of my opponents would be as willing to do what I was willing to do when it would come to that. And I love the like it's like a meditation for me to go on a real long hard run as well.
Yeah.
And for this last few fights, I realized when I fought Aiden Lee, I was attacking his cardio from the start of the fight. So I, I, I literally that was my game plan to put him on a run with me, and you
Mm.
can see it. So if it was a world title fight, that would have been a different story. But so I kept
Yeah.
pressuring him. But
Like
I know I have to
even when you got
innovate.
hit in the cup, you were like, no, I want to keep going, I
Yeah,
want to keep going.
straight up. But that really pisses me off when I see like because there's no two ways about it. You're so ready for it when you see some people get hit in the cup, yeah, and they're like, I know they can carry on, and they're trying to like, do you see what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
it's not football, get to it. But some shots are that bad, but like I didn't want anything to take me out of
Yeah.
the fight. I was so with the reality, it hurts regardless. Do you know what I mean? Whether do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Every shot
Yeah.
hurts, to just
Yeah.
keep going. But yeah, so I have to innovate from that. I can't just have one motion, even though it's a very good strategy.
Hmm.
I so I have, it's going to take a long while. I'm looking to actually fight for a long time now. I've really been thinking about it. So I've got so much time to innovate, but I have to be smart, look after my body, look after my health, longevity, and discipline decisions. But so regarding for the last couple of fights, I've been doing Stuart Turner, guy around Northampton, where he's a great conditioning coach,
Yeah.
and he's one of the most like dedicated people I know to the field regarding
Hmm.
what he knows and that. But he's given me some great tips for improving my, you know, strength and conditioning. So I love to press the cardio hard. So there's always breathing techniques, breathing exercises. I miss saunas. Haven't had any of that for this fight, unfortunately. But hot baths are always good.
Hmm.
But
Do you use
breathing's
them for
important.
cardio? I thought
Say
they were
again?
like more. Do you use them for cardio? I thought they were more of like a cutting
What
weight.
saunas? You can use them for
Yeah.
cardio. Absolutely, yeah. You stay in there until you get stressed,
Yeah.
and then you
Mm.
compose yourself in there, and then you can do deep breathing exercises, and even just sitting in an extremely hot environment and then pulling lots of air
Yeah.
in. You can reach really mad states just by meditative breathing and saying extreme heat. You can feel your heart beating, and what's great about it is you're not smashing your joints, your ligaments, and that, and you're still getting that intense cardio work.
Yeah.
So they are actually really good. But
Yeah. I've
I've
not
been
heard of that
doing
before.
yeah, trust me, really good, really good.
Yeah.
Um, and you're still putting the work in because it's a mental exercise when you're in these saunas. But of course, you have to make sure you're on your hydration. That's so
Yeah.
important. For the last couple of fights, I've been putting like a weighted backpack on my back and like and doing high intensity continuous training with like step ups, and that's really good building up. Because I'm trying to carry my power for longer, and I've studied fighters like Michael Chandler, and I'm very inspired by that, because that's what's exciting me about fighting at lightweight. I'm not worried at all about fighting a bigger man,
I think he does a lot of like
because
calisthenics, doesn't he, and stuff. Is it calisthenics he does? That sort of.
yes, yeah, all that. He's so dedicated, because that's part of the art as well. Or any athletics or whatever you're doing, but your dedication to your conditioning is very much part of the art, as it is as, refining your techniques and stuff. And you can see he dedicates so much to it, and over time it will get you results. And then I was thinking to myself, I will go to featherweight again, but I haven't actually seen my highest potential, which is absolute truth, physically, mentally. I haven't seen it. So I'm excited by some lightweight fights. I do know I'm going to come in a lot smaller than these guys, because if you look at some of my featherweight fights, even them guys were towering over me, like Decky McLean and Aiden Lee. I was very small compared to them. So the lightweight guys get even bigger. But I'm 5'8", and then you got fighters like Michael Chandler, and there's many more. They're coming in, and they don't care, because they, instead of the mindset of always taking away from yourself to be the bigger man in your weight division, it's like, well, no, why not try to be your most strongest, powerful, fittest, healthiest self, and fight there? So it doesn't matter if these guys are going to be bigger than me. I'm coming in my best self.
Michael Chandler didn't have any problem knocking out Daniel Hooker, did he?
Exactly. So yeah, I will go featherweight, because I think at the very pinnacle, that's where I want to be. But that'd be at a stage where I can really put all my focus and attention into it, if you see what I'm saying. But right now, my attention will be split over roofing and labouring and jobs like this, and then MMA. I'm not full time right now, so but lightweight it's good for me, because I weighed myself this morning. I'm 78.5 kilos, so that's good. I was fully hydrated and everything, so I'm gonna come in strong, thick, and healthy.
It's not a massive cut then.
No, because I'm carrying loads of water right now. Like, even I heard in the past when Dustin Poirier was at featherweight, he done like cuts. He was heavier than I am right now, and then would fight at featherweight and still go in and perform great.
Yeah.
So I'm still gonna have to discipline myself a lot for it, but I'm probably sitting exactly where I want to be weight wise right now for the fight, because I'm not going to take anything away from myself. I'm coming in at my fittest, strongest, and I've got a big challenge, a big opponent, and he's violent. Do you know what I'm saying? He doesn't accumulate, but he looks for the finishing shots. So there's a slight difference in us in that. But if you studied Yassine before, he brings a lot of flair to the table with his taekwondo background. But I'm going to stay calm, composed when he tries this, and get my distancing right. And then I'd say his hardest shot seems to be coming from his right hand. He very much does it like a McGregor. So he kind of likes to stalk the opponent back. He likes to control the rhythm, but who doesn't like to control the rhythm in a fight? But I can see where he's comfortable. Similar to how McGregor would do it, he'd walk the guy down, raise the sharp focus as he's staring, and he'd hold the hand low here, and he'd try to bomb that right hand. So but he can bring something that different to the table. I'm ready for it. I expect that. I know the reality of this game. I think more than some of the elites, because I've experienced like so much from wins, losses. So it's going to be a great battle, great chess game. So
I'm excited for it.
Me too.
You were saying before about your mindset about wanting to be like fighting for a long time. Have you always had that mindset, or has that sort of changed since you've been fighting? Or?
Say that one more time, please.
You said before about your mindset about wanting to sort of be fighting for a long time.
Yeah.
Has that sort of changed since you started, or is that that sort of mindset going into each fight?
It's always changing as I learn more about the sport, about myself as I grow older. You see what I'm saying? So it started with just a pure infatuation, obsession with the sport, with the development. When I was young, I literally fell in love with watching some of the fighters and athletes in the UFC. I thought they were like the great, which there's when you're just really inspired by people. I'd see people like Frankie Edgar. He's always been one. The Diaz brothers. I would see these people, and I would just be. I wanted to do that. I couldn't ignore it. I thought they're incredible. So this is exactly what I wanted to be. So I went after it, and been knocked down a few times, that's for sure. But you know what? It only gives me motivation these days, because that's very much part of the process. I mean, and then I've thought about it a lot this year, but like nothing beats trying to be your best self. Like nothing, no pleasure or anything. I don't think it's better than that. So that's what I'm very much going after.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always changing my mindset, because you can say something one year, and then you can listen back yourself back to like 2 years down the line, you think I was a fool, wasn't which you kind of are, because you always are, because you're always learning. But yeah, it's always changing, but
Yeah.
very much it's been consistent in as well. But so it does change.
Yeah. Did you start training? Like, how did you get into it? Then did you start training it as MMA, or did you like start learning jiu-jitsu, or like when you started training, how did you get into it?
I started out in Taekwondo, which
Yeah.
which makes this fight very interesting with me and Yassine. I did get a black belt in it, and I was doing it for a long time. I'd never had a solid mindset, because I was a kid doing this. I was doing it, just a cute little thing as a kid, going to Taekwondo practice. But nevertheless, even when I was 1 foot in with that, I still had a lot of fights in Taekwondo. I would turn up always, and I would compete, and I wasn't even all in. And then when I was about 16, as you start, I'm a teenager and I'm coming away from it. It felt quite empty, as I was coming away from something I was doing for so long, and it didn't feel right. I felt like, I was working, and I was in college, and there was a pulling feeling, like you're coming away from something now, or you're giving up on something. Because I was very wishy-washy with the Taekwondo. I would just always turn up and do it, but I never
Were you
had
aware
that
of
much
like
pride.
were you aware of like UFC and the MMA at that point, or was it something you're not heard of?
Yeah, I come across it a few times, and when I watched a few fights, I thought that was brutal, and I thought, but then because I was had a martial arts background, I thought, if you're really real, you would end up doing that. It would always nag on my mind. Do you see what I'm saying? You could have your little black belt in Taekwondo and whatnot, but if you're not doing what's really real, I always knew I was going to end up doing it. And then out of pure curiosity, I had a friend who I worked with who was training jiu-jitsu, and we clicked really well. And then I went to train MMA with him. And then I fell in love with the grappling aspect of it. It was so clever. And
I saw you got your purple belt recently. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. That was long due, because I'm always coming away from one aspect. You fall in and out of love of certain aspects of it. But I'm really going to put myself towards the grappling again, because if you don't use it, you lose it. That's with every skill, every fitness attribute, and I've had that with my grappling. There's one stage where, especially when I was amateur, I was so sure I could literally crash the distance, double underhooks, leg reap, get my opponent to the floor, and this is fact. This would always happen. It'd be like a couple of rounds, I'll get a submission. This because during my amateur days, because I was so obsessed with the grappling aspect of it. It was so clever, and I had and I still do. My coach Danny Batten, it was just, he would blow my mind regularly all the time, and that would just keep me like inspired learning. It was, I just loved it so much. And then as you get older, you do fall out of love, and things pull your attention away. All sorts of things happen, and then you end up coming back around to it. But that was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
It's been a rough year. I've had like 6 different jobs since COVID. There's just been loads of things you could put your mind on, but they haven't really got me down. But like, it's been a crazy year, and then good news like that. Well, not good news, but like a nice thing like that happens. It was completely unexpected. I just started turning up to jiu-jitsu more and putting the gi on, which I've been needing to do. And then Danny and Raymond, my 2 coaches, called me to the front of the glass and put a purple belt around me,
Yeah.
which is really cool. And you know what? I want to take a lot more pride in that aspect of the martial arts now. Really put myself towards it. For the fight, it then come away a little bit more. Started tailoring it more towards the MMA, the conditioning that and I started thinking about the way my body needs to move and the way I need to perform. So I would spend a little less time on the in the last couple of weeks with the gi on, so I could just focus on the conditioning, like how I need to move and perform for the fight.
Did you train a lot of
So
jiu-jitsu with the gi then, or do you do a lot of no gi?
a lot of no-gi, but I need to do more, because you're always going to one aspect of the area and then you're coming back to the gi. But I'm hoping I'm gonna win this fight. Well, I'm not hoping I will. I'm gonna win the fight 2 weeks from now, and then I would like to then, I haven't got the pressure on to win a fight, I can just keep turning up to jiu-jitsu and just be in that state of growth, keep just doing rounds after rounds of rolling and exploring it more and learning. That's really what I can't wait to do.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to, once we get this victory, just turning up like almost like a childlike mindset, just be exploring it more, because that's where, but really is where the learning takes place.
I like it, but I love like all the different areas. Like you see, like you like taekwondo and the striking, but you also like the grappling as well.
I love it all, and I want to learn it all, because yeah, you got to know what you're doing. There's so many aspects to the game. Some people are going to always do well because they're just a pure animal. I'm going to push myself as much physically as I can, mentally, and what really matters is, especially at the stage I'm in now, is my actual education of the sport and everything from the mental, physical, and what I can give back, actually, because that's going to be super important. You know, can I teach people? Can I help people? Do you see what I'm saying? Also, but right now I know I have to selfishly focus on just winning these fights. But there's so many areas to explore, and you're always of use, no matter what. It's your attitude which really governs where you go with this.
You said about that people being like pure animal. You said when you get in there, do you have that aggression yourself?
Yeah, it definitely comes and goes, because what I've noticed, some fights carry more meaning than others. Sometimes you've got like you really get up and out of bed for these fights, and sometimes you kind of just turn up. So that's what I'm talking about, attitude, because yeah, it all depends on your mental and how much it means to you, how much meaning you give the fight. If you see what I'm saying. So you have a state of detachment. You kind of don't care, but you give it your absolute all.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Which
so whatever happens, happens.
Like, sorry, what you're saying?
Whatever happens in the fight, you just got to let go of it, but just give it your absolute most and really just love to play the game.
Yeah. Which are the ones do you though, which have made you go on, like you said, I really fucking want this, or he's just sort of like turn up? Has anything like sort of affected that for you, or is it just sort of
Okay, so all of them really mattered to me until the stage where I broke my arm at Bellator. I stopped really caring, because I was that was when I went through many mindset changes, because I didn't care anymore. I really didn't. And even when I jumped back in the sport, my attitude was just like, because I wanted more. I wanted better money for my fights. It was just wasn't rewarding enough. When before, the reward was always in the growth of getting better, going towards fights. I just love to see myself perform and get better. And then I was doing this for so long, I finally got to a stage where, say, financially, it could start paying off. But I had opportunities with the Ultimate Fighter that fell through, and then what happened at Bellator, and then they all carried a lot of weight until that point. And I thought, what's all this hard work worth if I end up, getting paid a packet of peanuts to fight some of the best competition in the country, maybe in Europe, which is that absolute fact. Do you see what I'm saying? So then I really didn't care at that point. And the results showed. They showed in my performance. Even when I got back in against Decky, it didn't look like what I used to look like. And that was based on attitude. And now I'm looking at it from another angle. I'm like, nah, this matters, really matters. Um, whether the financial rewards come or not, but you got to go in there and represent yourself well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I miss the like myself when I would turn up fight Aiden Lee and them sort of fights, and they really got me going. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I'm looking for, these kind of challenges. Um, and regarding my loss to Steve Aimable, that's only just motivated me. It really has. Like it was more hard reality I got hit with, and I realized the more you face reality of the sport, just look at it for what it is. Um, no one's exempt from whatever, but there's one thing you're always in control of, and you can always, always, always be your best self, no matter what happens outside of you or who you're in front of. That's so within your control,
Yeah.
and that is literally what it is. So that was annoying, that last fight. I really wanted it. The fight got stopped. Who knows what would have happened?
Yeah.
But I would say let's look at it from this angle. Gratitude that ref Rich Mitchell stepped in, because that means I didn't go unconscious. I remained conscious. So going into the next fight, I haven't suffered that. So like my nose was spread across my face though after that, because he hit me with an elbow, and I
Was
reckon it
that from the
landed around
elbow
here.
who he cracked his arm? Because Aimable
Yeah.
did his arm, didn't he? Was that the same injury you? So yeah, a similar injury, I think, weren't it?
Yeah,
From
so
one
he
you
smashed me
did.
with an elbow, but like I think it round here, just this was all spread. So I weren't breathing right for the next week. But boy, trust me, I've seen fighters make it through worse, and I know I've got conditioning to make it through worse as well. But Steve was on it. He probably could have landed maybe another 4 shots if the referee didn't step in. Also, the possibility exists. Maybe I did get a double, but let's be grateful. Steve nailed it. Is what it is. He's and he's a dangerous guy. I reckon he's going to hit harder than Yassine, that's for sure. So, but it is what it is. Literally after that, I turned up back to the gym on Monday, and I went to boxing class training with Lee Edwards, and that was the best medicine. Like, just I was there, and I was already increasing my awareness, my timings, jumping on the skipping rope. I was already in a state of recovery as soon as the Monday come around. If anything, that fight with Steve Aimable was just a bit of ring time. Um, a little bit of a punch up, and I was looking good anyway until got caught. I really was.
Yeah.
I
No,
was getting
yeah.
into a nice flow. That could have been the making for an incredible fight. It unfolded that way, and that is reality. It is what it
Yeah.
is. So like the thing is, I don't know where my motivation come from, because I've been on it since that fight, without any external rewards. So that's a pretty good thing. I've just been loving the process of actually learning to be better, because all the other stuff like validation and people saying and looking at like the scoreboard, that's outside of yourself. What really exists is you getting better as a fighter athlete, because you carry around that with yourself every day.
Yeah. I said you were talking
So
about like
yeah,
exploring the jiu-jitsu again. You just sound like you're in love with just the growth and
yeah,
exploring the sport of that again. That
definitely, it
part
was
of it.
good. Just turning back up to the gym, not giving a rat's about all that, and just
Yeah.
so then I'm coming from that, mainly come from a really pure angle, if you see what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
I'm there just to train jujitsu, just to learn jujitsu, get tapped out, tap other people out. So I'm looking to win my rounds, and if I'm not winning, I'm looking to figure out what's going on. Just and it's that, yeah, it was healthy, you know. So, and I've been enjoying conditioning and working from there.
No, I really like you. I really like your mindset.
Yeah, man. I just,
Yeah.
I literally, and I just laughed it off with my mates. Like I remember from the Sunday, I went to see some friends I've been training with. My friend Dan Frost. They sponsor me his company, Frost Hire, and we also train together. And he gets me ready for these fights, and we just laughed it off, man. Got some good food in, and you know what I mean. Don't take it so seriously. Don't take it to heart. It is what it is.
Was
can
it
you go
different?
again?
Sorry, go on.
And yeah, you know, you look at like, can you get better from here? If you can, then just go.
Yeah.
You know,
Was it different last year not being able to have the crowd there? Is that something you liked or you didn't like?
I quite like it. I like a crowd being there, and I like a crowd not being there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be the same for this one as well.
They're going wild for like a lot of your fights, like like I see like your
Yeah,
mates and that's going like mad in the background.
yeah, yeah, man. I do miss it. I'm looking forward to getting some crowds there again. I'm looking forward to this fight as well. I really am. Like, I know it's dangerous, got big challenge, but I'm really just loving just learning and getting stuck in, and being active. It's great. So oh man, and there's so many things I want to explore in my head. And I've got some good people I'm working with, improving in certain areas. So I can see what can happen. So it's down to me to put the work in, and I've been doing that. I've got another solid week of training. I'm going to push it hard this week because I can. Like I said, I'm not taking away from myself. I can eat well, and I've got like another week of it all matters. All these hours of practice, um, of getting ready for this fight. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
And I'm
appreciate
loving
you coming on,
studying
mate.
other fighters too.
You what, sir?
I'm back, and I'm really enjoying studying other fighters. Like, I'm looking at boxing
Yeah.
and all and I'm just figuring out what makes this guy great, what makes that guy great. It's just yeah, I'm really enjoying it all again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you coming on, mate. Cheers, mate.
Mate, what we should do is after the win, we will hook up again and talk about it.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it. I've enjoyed having
Definitely.
you on. Thanks for your
Yeah,
time.
man. Thank you. Take
Cheers.
care.